Well, now we're going to be talking about confined and enclosed spaces, which is actually Glenn's, but he gets to play with his kids today for Fair Day. So one day the school will be closed for Columbus Day, or as I like to call it, Canadian Thanksgiving. So one day, there we go. It's slowly but surely coming. The one form you have, it looks as though it needs to be updated a little, but it has all the confined and enclosed spaces on campus. So if you would review that, you could see what type of areas there are here, what type of things you need, whether it's a barricade or whether you need a permit. And that goes through, if you need a permit, first of all, of course, see your supervisor, and then secondarily see Glenn, because he's the one who fills that stuff out. There's also a whole safety binder called Confined Space Entry Kit. And in there's a 30-minute video, shows you proper safety protocol. There's a workbook, there's some written stuff, some OSHA standards, and this is where this PowerPoint information comes from. So getting started, who is affected by confined space and enclosed spaces? Of course, all of us are. Everyone on campus. The things that you need to know is where to stay away from, obviously, and what you need to take precautions if you do have to enter these spaces, like we had to in the basement of Todd there. And this is basically our training that we offer. Tell you what the difference is between the two, where they are, how they're identified, and then what type of precautions you have to take in entering those spaces. Confined space. It's large enough that someone can enter. Like I said, there is weight limits, size limits. Daniel thought there was other limits, but anyway. That you can enter and perform the work that you need to do. It has a limited access for entry and exit. For example, Todd only has one entrance into that confined space, and there's no windows or anything, so no exit plan other than that one way in and out. And no employee is going to be spending a significant amount of time in there. It's just for a short period of time to get work done and get out. So our signs, like you saw in the video, we have warning confined space. There's also danger confined space, and that one will say enter by permit only. And so when you're looking for, if you see these signs around campus, the warning confined space doesn't need a permit, but you're going to want to tell your supervisor that you're going into there, and you're going to want to take the proper precautions like air testing, making sure the environment is safe, etc. And the danger confined space, though, does require a permit, which you'll have to see Glenn Monroe for. Like we said, you don't enter. Most of you will never have to enter these areas. Daniel and I had to enter the one that was a warning confined space to fix a sump pump that was not taking water out of Todd. So, all right. These are all the locations on campus as far as where confined spaces are. You also should have, that would be the exact same stuff that is in that handout that you have. An enclosed space. So they don't meet the exact same conditions as a confined space, but they still require safety precautions when entering them. Like I said, the buddy system is encouraged. They also have the signs caution enclosed space, which you saw on the door of the elevator room into in Todd basement. So here is, once again, the procedures that you have to go through. The erecting barricades is something that you would do around any work area that you're working in, whether you're putting up a ladder or working in an environment that you don't want people walking through. In this case, you're going to want to make sure that people can't follow you into that enclosed space or crawl into it themselves. And make sure that people know how long you're going to be spending in that space. Here is what you want to do, the entry team. It sounds so tactical, which I like. So you're going to want to, of course, always wear your proper PPE. Trevor, what's that stand for? Personal protection equipment. Good job. Good job. You're paying attention. you get some safety shorts. You're going to want to identify who you're in contact with, let people know that you're going in there like we talked about, what job you're doing, etc. If you do have an emergency, you're going to want people to know how to get a hold of you and come and find you. And of course, when you're done, remove all your barricades and secure the area. Make sure that batten down the hatches. So the assistant, this is the buddy system I was talking about. Make sure that they, of course, know what job you're performing and how to assist you if they can. One thing that I'm thinking of in particular is lighting. Some of these areas, the lighting, it's either hard to get to or limited. And so if you're the flashlight guy or girl, that is, you're going to want to probably stay on that for the entire time. Okay, here we go. If you cannot perform these duties, you probably want to find someone who can. All right, so a minimum number of employees who are going into these environments. You want to, of course, have your assistant and you, but not so many that it becomes crowded. And yeah, make sure that you let people know via radio when you're going in or out of these spaces. Any member of FPO can be a part of an enclosed space team. And that's what we want to make sure, is that everyone here knows that these things are on campus and what the proper procedures are for making sure that people get into them safely and leave safely. These are the enclosed space locations on campus. Once again, they'll be in your list there, but these are the different enclosed spaces. All right, check, call, and care. You want to make sure you are taking all the precautions before going into the spaces. Make sure that you call someone if you need help, of course. You do have your radios and they do work in these spaces, so make sure you use them. And make sure your assistant or your buddy knows the proper procedures on getting help. You can also call, I know in the basement, at least the iPhones, Brian will give me a hard time about this, have a problem picking up reception. I don't know. And then those are from DTS phones, which are all around campus, and then from your cell phone, of course, 911. Okay. Care. People who are trained in rescuing people from confined spaces. You can see that bold point there. There are no DTS personnel who are trained in confined space rescue. It's the responsibility of off-campus emergency agencies such as the fire department, and they're all way trained in these type of things, trained. It's not safe to get caught in a tight space. That's what we're talking about there. So that is the end of the enclosed space.